Mr. Epic, welcome to the stream, to
Hello,
the
mate.
podcast. How you going?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Not too bad.
Not too bad. So you are the runner of the death match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, used to be, anyway.
used to, well, basically created. I've known you all the way back since we were running the Creep Show, and then you moved into my life, and I haven't been able to get rid of you since. Which we
No,
which
no,
we
yes, I'm stuck
appreciate.
now, mate.
Which we appreciate. Um, when did you get into Dayz?
I first started off on beta back in, what was it, 2018, I think it was.
Yep, back in the preview days.
Yeah, the good old days.
Got to see all the fun kicking off.
Oh, mate, the fun was hilarious. I mean, all the errors which the developers used to cause on the 40 days and 40 nights of rain, which was fun.
Yep, we all remember them.
Oh, God, yeah.
Running around in glow
The
glow
good
sticks
old
in the
days.
pouring rain, freezing, dying.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, we look back on it now and laugh at the bugs that we have coming through on the updates that we have these days due to how crazy it was back then. And
Well,
yeah, go.
to be fair, it looks. Go on, sorry.
No, go.
It looks a lot. Yeah, the issues we seem to be having these days is more sort of server side rather than actual gaming side.
Yep, that is very much true.
Yeah, sort of. It seems like that the coders are having more issues than the actual players.
Yeah, the custom server owners, as the new implements get in place, there are definitely some hiccups. Hopefully, as we always do, hotfix 2 is usually the savior.
Oh, definitely.
And since you're no longer so heavily involved in the server side of it, how many hours do you get to play Dayz now?
Um, in all fairness, I don't play the game that much anymore.
Yep.
I mean, I still do a bit of coding from here and there. I'm gonna say, coding-wise, I spend about, it's gotta be at least 20 hours a week.
Just delving right into the code.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of, there's always the testing, but that's not really playing though, is it, to be honest?
No, it's not. That's yeah, that's code in our way.
Yeah,
Can't just do our
definitely.
little flight path to double check everything's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, once again, welcome to the podcast. We do appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
how'd you go, Maddog? No, I think he's gonna have to. I think he might have to go and clear his MAC address. Yep. That's I need to clear my MAC address.
Yeah, he's gone.
As with every production, and as well as running on Dayz itself, there's going to be a few hiccups and some minor glitches. That's just what it's all about. When he comes back, we'll do his little roll through. How'd you go there?
Hello, mate. Welcome back.
The other way to get your mic going is to take the mic symbol off, unplug it, replug it in, and then spam it. And talk while you spam. We're getting an expert on... There we go. Getting an expert on fixing these mics these days.
Oh, someone has to be.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we'll see if we can, we'll see if we
Clear
can...
your fucking mic.
That's it. I That's it. That's probably. I've tried that with Xbox a few times, threatening it, yelling at it, screaming at it, pointing a gun at it. Yeah, that don't work either. Maybe a glow stick. But we'll kick on. We'll see if he can get his mic going, and might have to clear his MAC address and get it going that way. It was once again we have it working at the start, no problems at all, and as soon as we hit play on the old stream, bang, dies in the butt. But 1.2, Mr. Epic, and especially in the codes, how you been finding it?
I mean, obviously, when they first dropped, 1.2 was like, what the frig have they done? But it seems like this hotfix one, which they released, what was it, the day before yesterday, seems to have done some wonders to a certain degree. There's still some issues I can see with the duplication, what I've seen and heard. But, you know, it's near enough fixed to a degree.
Yeah, definitely got some stuff on back. Definitely back to as it used to be. I suppose that's just how they operate, but I know in our Discord we've got a massive list now of all the things that still have issues with it. Hotfix 2 should possibly fix that, but it's been a massive detrimental effect to a lot of servers, especially the ones with the traders. I mean, did you manage to experience the lag or see the effect of what happened when you went near some of these places that had the duplication?
No, but I have seen videos of them, and it was just like, well, it's like driving through a 50 slot server, which is full pop, and you're driving through Civet. It was just so laggy and so shit, basically.
Yeah, well, one of them that I went into, it was getting down to like 1 or 2 frames per second.
Shit, that's bad.
Yeah,
I think mine must have hit about that as well.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Better?
hello,
Yep,
Matt.
hello.
Welcome back.
Oh, thank God, what's good?
Yay for Xbox.
I never have good luck with the VoIP in this game. Like, the entire time I've played it.
Well, fingers crossed you can get it going now. I mean, take it back to the 1.2. I know how much you have on your server, and especially like your coastal regions it would have basically crippled your server the last update.
Yeah, man, the best way I can kind of explain it is, you ever seen that meme of the dog sitting at the table and the house is on fire and he's just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
That was me the entire, the entire week.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so bad. Like, no, the good thing was though, like, being able to, you know, keep the players informed and stuff. Like, everything's back to normal now, and it didn't seem to affect like our player pop or anything too much, which I am really grateful for, because we've got obviously a lot of loyal players on my server that have been there now for a while. So no, it was good to see it didn't affect the pop, but it was probably like the hardest week to manage that server I think I've had.
Yeah, I definitely could agree. That would have been some absolutely hair-pulling experience. There was a lot of servers like yours that was, you know, in the same situation where they were just, you know, there was a lot of mods on their servers, and you just get crippled and just lock it up. But it's good to see your player base bounce back and, you know, held true to the name. There's nothing like loyal players that may have ducked off and played some official and then come back to the server. It is an absolutely beautiful server. If you haven't been on it, it's definitely one to go for a trek on, especially down on the southern coast. Some mods that I've never seen before. Anything that you're looking
Yeah, well, I was
at?
happy to have you on.
Appreciate you. Is there anything that that really, and this goes out to both here, that really tickled your fancy when it came to the 1.20? that's really maybe enhanced either your coding or has now put your server on a different level?
I don't, no, not particularly. Like, I think just like with everything that happened, Jason stacking, there was obviously temporary fixes and stuff for it, until we got the hot fix. But code wise, like I think, you know, um, my server has like the infinite stamina and stuff already. So I haven't actually really played around with the new effect area, not the effect area, the gameplay settings and stuff like that yet. And it, no one's really said on it yet. I've been playing a lot of official as well. Well, we had the week of craziness, and I don't know. I don't really feel much of a difference with the whole stamina thing, apart from when your character gets wet. You can really feel it.
Yeah, when he's completely soaked and he's hobbling along.
Yeah, and the turning as well. When you're trying to turn, but you're quite heavy. Like that threw me off a little bit. That's I think where I felt it the most.
That's very interesting. And what about you, Epic? Anything in the coding that you picked up or decided that you were going to get into? I know you like your Zorro masks.
Yeah, I mean the masks are pretty cool, but in all fairness, sort of, I'm quite glad that this was a major bug update and it got rid of quite a few issues. So, but sort of addition wise, then sort of obviously it was just the masks, and who doesn't love a little bit of a mime mask from time to time?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, I'm set up on my to look like the crow. That's the way my character is at the moment.
Roll around like the crow. I mean, I like them. I thought there was only a couple coming out, and then when I got into the code and saw there was a whole variety, it adds a little spice to it. I've seen a lot of players use them, and it just changes it up. I think apparel is the biggest thing that Dayz lacks in a variety of at least throwing out one or two bits of clothing to allow the role players and I mean any player to take on their own unique design of what they want to look like. It works in a lot of games and it doesn't have to be bought for or anything like that. Just chuck us a couple of shirts and pants and shoes and hats every so often.
Oh, definitely. So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to hopefully future updates when there is like maybe double or even triple the amount of clothing, because it's just seemed a bit stagnant the last, I don't know, let's say 10 updates at least.
I think a massive thing that'd be an improvement is like even the ability to make a ghillie suit out of the camo nets that you can find.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've got a lot of things in the game that they can use, especially like those camo canopies that you see getting ported in, which are just some logs with a net over the top. I think some easy wins like that would be um, a beneficial to the game. But double in the clothes, that would be an absolutely wicked idea. Even if there are variations of some of the clothes, I think just variety on its own is the major gameplay when it comes to gaming these days.
Definitely, because sort of there's a lot of RP that goes on in sort of in this game, and people want to be able to have that distinction between, well, someone else is wearing cargo pants. What was it? There's like five sets of cargo pants in this game. And it's like so you can only have so much variety.
Yeah, there is definitely limitations, and especially when they come for. I don't think they have enough crazy outfits like you see Maddog there with the hat and the beard. The hat and the beard changes the personality altogether, and things like that. A lot of people are talking about onesies and where's my giant rabbit suit for Easter, so I can run around as a giant rabbit. Yeah, I'm gonna stick out like nothing else, but for my own amusement, it'll be funny. Imagine Easter time when there's 40 people running around on the coast dressed as rabbits, cut in sick.
Yeah. You know what I'm quite looking forward to is, well, hoping that they include more sort of medieval knight gear.
Yeah, I'd like to see some cosplay stuff merge into the categories of, even if it was in a museum in the actual game, and you could go and pick it up off a stand and take the sword and the helmet and, you know, incorporate into the game into
Definitely.
an actual plausible way, and so people can get it. If there's only one on a server, there's one on a server per reset. We roll with that sort of thing all the time, so I think that'd be great additions.
For sure.
Absolutely great additions.
Yeah,
Definitely.
even something like riot gear, like in the police stations. It's like to be able, ability to be able to use a riot shield or something. You know what I mean? Have full on riot stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they got majority of it. I mean, they could easily just change a few. I mean, the helmet that Epic's got on there, you could add police down the side, change the colour, and a riot shield that allows you to block and take no damage. Yeah, 100%. How many people would use that? Imagine that in a if it was bulletproof. Imagine that in a raid. One guy up front, everyone cowered behind him. You get that. I suppose it merges into that siege sort of style of play.
Definitely.
So yeah, you're getting a lot of variety there. Um, so the biggest thing is, especially with the lure of PC, what keeps you guys coming back and consistently being on, you know, console itself? I'll ask Epic first up, because I know Epic, you yourself went for a little adventure on the PC and still play PC yourself. And
Definitely, yeah.
I thought that was our time and patch is gone, but you held on to the community and hung around, and obviously, you know, started getting back involved with it. What keeps you around on the Xbox Dayz community?
It's everyone I've met over the year, well, over the last couple of years. Yeah, sort of everyone from like Feather to yourself to, well, to Maddog here and T-Dog and all of that lot, T-Bag as well. It's like there seems to be a lot more of a sense of a community on console, whereas with PC it's more aimed towards sort of the amount of mods you can have, the amount of snow-covered maps and shit like that. You know, so for me, it is just the community aspect of this game on console.
Yeah, I get that. I get that response quite often when it comes to the community's the biggest pull when it comes to, I guess, the Xbox Dayz community game. What about you, Maddog? What keeps you keeping the TGB server rolling and you orchestrating and pulling out your hair?
To be honest, a lot of what Epic's out there, like it's the community. It's nuts the amount of times, you know, I've joined Discords and, you know, spoke to a person that I haven't spoken to in like a year and just running into them again. It is a very tight knit community. Like another reason I do play PC Dayz a little bit, but I spent so much time, you know, on editor, staring at it, that like I'm a console gamer by heart. So like I like to be able to just sit down at night, sit in the chair, stick a controller in the hand, and, you know, just relax. It's just a different environment, I think. Like the console community is very tight knit, especially the owners, and it's something you have to, you know, you don't really see it with many other games. You know, like there's no one really gatekeeps information or anything like that. Anytime someone figures something out in the coding community, it's like, right, let's tell everybody and see what else other people come up with. It's just it's a really nice community to be a part of.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, especially with the sharing of information. Um, we tend to, as soon as someone, it's more of the fact of, hey, I figured this out, everybody, look, rather than, I figured this out, so I'm going to keep it to myself and just try and play that off. It's one of the things that I've found is really, really appealing, especially with the community of the greedy peasant. It's especially around update times. There's a lot of community getting in there, helping each other. It's been a lot of people who have had struggled that are new to servers, and I think that sort of community drive keeps a lot of people in the game too. As you say, you both are here
Yeah.
because of the community.
No, absolutely, and I think with the whole, sharing of information stuff, people figure out their own things as well, rather than holding on to it. The more servers that have all these crazy things going on, or even little just subtle things, the better, because it does raise the players' expectations of gameplay as well on console, and I think that's a really good thing for the devs to be looking at. Is the, the coders are helping players find exactly what they want, and I'd say you know as we seen with this update, and what they want to do this year, they do want to give community owners more control and tools they can play with. So, all the work everyone is putting in is getting noticed by the devs. So I think give this game like another year, and I'd say we're gonna have some crazy stuff this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, especially from what Scale Speeder was saying and looking at um, loadouts and starting loadouts being on the cards, that will be an absolute game changer, not only for deathmatch servers where you want to just jump in already pre-kitted, a random set of kit to jump into, bang, off you go, but also to, roleplay servers or to, hardcore servers where you can set your character with a certain amount of gear depending on the story and the lore backed behind it. Because a lot of the time you have to work with a story where you are just one person, um, rocked up with a bandage and a glow stick in freshie clothes, where that's very hard to, how do you peel a story off that when you're a fireman or a police officer or someone from the army? What are you doing in civilian gear with just a bandage and a glow stick? So hopefully that does definitely roll through.
Yeah, definitely. Sort of loadouts will be a big change to the game on console because sort of having played PC, sort of you can set up your own loadouts for how you want on the server, and depending on the type of server you got with console, if you've got an RP server, then you can be set up as that person, as sort of as you were just saying, as a fireman or as a copper, as a farmer, whatever. And also for deathmatch servers as well. You can load in, you're fully kitted. You don't have to go hunting around for that bloody M4. You can go and bloody go sweaty on people.
Yeah, straight out the bat. Not only that, it allows a new era of server to come out. The one on ones, the 2v2s, the small style team deathmatch servers. That's all going to be a possibility with loadouts because it's not you have to start the game, go kit up, go to this point. Yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. All right, let's go. It could just be a consistent run through of respawning into it. So it'll definitely advance the 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 genre, I think. All right, so when it comes to it, and you guys are rolling around gaming, what is the best gun for you, and why do you use it?
The all
For
too.
me, for me, it's got to be the Mosin and an M4 and the FX45.
And what about you, Maddog?
And as I was just saying, the AUG A2, it is an absolute unit of gun. Um, you pair that with the 6 times, you can do range shots. It's got burst fire. What more do you need?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you suppose pick two of the guns that I roll with, which is the AUG and the Mosin. Um, I am curious about why the FX45.
Um, it's always been my go-to pistol ever since I first started finding it back on official days. Yeah, so it's something where there's ammo's plenty about. It's used to be you know, one shot tap into bloody zombies' heads. It's a quick for me. It was quick and easy. There was plenty of ammo, and it was just very handy.
What about you, Maddog? What freshie gun do you sought after?
Usually a pistol is the first thing to go for. Like when I play, let's say official, I'll go straight to the police stations, grab an M-lock, get a couple cans of food and head south. Because I do find like you're heading south in Livonia, any pistol is fine for, the wolf packs and stuff. That's normally what I'll do is head straight down south. But I find the pistols are as a freshie you can carry them with you, all the way up until you're snowballed into fully geared. They're useful all the time.
Yeah, that's I think a lot of people dismiss the pistols as something that can really do some damage as long as you get your aim spot on. I know myself, I've taken out quite a few players with pistols, quick firing, nice and easy to reload, multiple bullets. Um, no,
Yeah, the thing about the pistols as well is it kind of they force you to be more accurate, obviously, because you've got a limited amount of rounds and it's single fire, so you kind of have to hit your shots where you want them to go.
yeah, that's 100% on the money. Especially when you've only got a pistol that you've picked up and you maybe single shotting it, or you know you got three or four in the chat in the mag. There's a few times I've taken out people with just a few bullets, perfectly placed at the head. But yeah, you definitely got to get your accuracy down pat. And speaking of cruising around as a freshie, apart from grabbing a gun and stuff like that, what's the first item that you sought after?
For me, it's got to be an axe. I mean, or a hatchet, something small, ideally, so you can just hide it if you do get attacked by another freshie. Then they just think you're unarmed.
Yep. And what about you,
Yeah,
Mad Dog?
what I'd normally go for a knife straight away because you can do everything with a knife. You can start a fire. You can gut animals. Normally, like you'll find food on the way to finding a knife as well. When you first start off. So I think like if you're after something, that's probably one of the most essential things to have as a freshie.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I suppose both that are as most are important as the other. All right, so we did run through how's the update impacted your server. Um, my question to you is, and we'll start off with Mad Dog. What aspect of the game would you like to see change back to any other older update? So, what have they maybe updated or taken away that you would like to see either be put back in because it worked, or something they've taken away that should be incorporated?
Well, it's more so not something I'd like to see come back and replace anything, but something I used to love back in the old updates. I miss from time to time. I think they'd be a great idea for like legacy servers if they ever give us the option to do that. Is the ability to actually break into bases using tools. Remember you could use a hacksaw to cut a padlock off a gate, or you could bash the wall down with a sledgehammer. Like,
Yep.
I think that would be really unique for a lot of community servers to have now, even though everybody had it back in the day. Um, you can do so many things like with that. Like I was even thinking earlier on, like something you see on PC servers and stuff is like even like the likes of C4 only raids. You have servers that are tool only raids. Um, Especially if you're going for like a really survival type of server with a bit of PvP and stuff. Like not everyone's going to be running around with hand grenades in their pocket. You're a lot more likely to find a crowbar than you are a explosive round. So I think it's something that would be interesting to come back just to see how it could be implemented with obviously all the other tools that we have now. like the JSONs and stuff. So yeah, that's something I miss from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. I remember the old days of getting a hacksaw and cutting people's locks off, or sitting there with a saw just cutting down their fences. It was a different way to raid. I think it also made raiding a lot more easier um, when it came to a lot of little bases getting cycled. So you see a base here that gets raided, and a week later there's another one down the road that gets put up and it gets raided. So it would be cool to have legacy service too. Go back to 40 days of rain and 40 days of nights. And what about you, Epic? What would you see? What would you like to see come back? That's maybe they've taken out or they've updated.
Um, in all fairness, I think the for me, it's getting rid of if we can get rid of the C4 and stuff like that, because servers are just overpopulated with them at the moment. You know, sort of you can raid a base in a matter of minutes, whereas as the dog was saying, is like, you know, sort of when we could cut open padlocks, you know, that was amazing. That felt a bit more real and lifelike to a certain degree. But also, I'd like to see the payday masks come back. I mean, I know they can't because of copyright and shit like that, but I think again it just goes back to the whole extra clothing within the game.
Yeah, 100%. Um, I would definitely love to see the payday masks and come back. I think they were pretty cool. Well, I mean, we've all tried to spawn them in 1,000 times and see if they clutch start and work, but
Yeah,
to no avail. But I definitely think even an outside partnership with maybe some of the different games like that to incorporate different items would give people incentive to come and play the game for those particular items. Like if they put payday
yeah,
masks
definitely.
in, I think you would get a whole new set of people come in, or maybe you could get the skull mask from COD, or maybe you could run around with a not as much as an enlarged hammer or something like that from Fortnite. Not that I'd ever like to see that, but just more that fact of crossing over the games to help incorporate more players into it definitely would be a good idea.
Well, I mean, as well, like Bohemia developed that game, Vigor, and there's a crazy amount of cosmetic items in that game. And I mean, they've already ported over something from Vigor, which was the SSG. That's exactly where that came from. So like, it is something that they could possibly do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just bring it from their own games and incorporate their own games as a homage to them. Definitely be a cool idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Because with every like they have a battle pass in that game, and like every season there's different teams. So like there's a huge variety of things that could be pulled from assets they have in other games and stuff like that. Which I think they might start doing. Obviously, they've brought that going over, so like, what's to stop them from bringing a couple of cosmetics?
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. It's not hard, even if they skin the frames that they've got. Right. Um, so we'll move on to bots and coding. So if you were going to start a brand new server, what would be the first Discord bot you would look into?
For me, in all fairness, I mean, now that Jeepers has sort of disappeared off the face of the planet, it's gonna have to be Teabag's Teabag's kill feed and trader bot.
Yep. And is that
Because I
solely
mean,
because of
I've
the global leaderboard?
predominantly, I mean, because from the servers I've ran before, sort of everyone was a little bit sweaty. They all wanted to be at the top, and yeah, I think the whole global leaderboard is a big thing for a lot of people, as like especially the PvPers.
Yep. Also, I think it brought in an era of competition within the PvP servers to make sure they
Definitely,
brought a decent server along that everybody could play. And I think without
for
that
sure,
that
for sure.
leaderboard, I think that's going to fall away now. And having something like that there to push servers to gain the top, because you want a smooth running server to incorporate as many players as possible to push the kills up to define yourself as the top of the leaderboard. So I definitely think that it is a major grab for kill feeds to have as a global leaderboard. Um, so, like we like to ask most of our coders, is what what inspired you to put down the controller and pick up the mouse and keyboard and start working on the code? What inspired you to start coding yourself? Maddog, we'll talk to you since you're currently rolling with the server.
Yeah, so I think what inspired me to, go and open one was me, my brother, and one of my close friends. We already started playing Daisy together, so we ended up going through like during lockdown, the first lockdown, I think, as we all got really heavy into it. Um, so there was a couple of servers like we played on together back then, and we noticed like you get maybe 2 or 3 months out of them, and then the server would close down or something. So I think what inspired me is, if I open a server and code it the way we like to play it, I'm in control of how long the server is up for and if it's going to disappear or not, and my initial thought with it was if, like, you get a couple of people joining who like the server to play as well, like, so be it, but more or less, I made that server for me and my buddies to play on, with all of the aspects that we liked from, things we might have seen in other servers and, things that we thought other servers could have done with while we were playing them. So I suppose that's it, really.
Yep, just making sure that the server is there when you switch on. That was and still is a problem, especially community servers that people can't afford to pay for the server anymore. It's not a big drama, or they lose interest, and your go-to server all of a sudden disappears. So I definitely feel that one. I've had that happen to me a few times. Um, what about you, Epic? What inspired you to start coding?
Well, in all fairness, it's got. I mean, I think this speaks for quite a few people. Is shitty, toxic owners slash admins. I mean, I first started after one of our old mutual friends. Sort of how he ran a server was just, it was toxic as fuck. And, and I know my servers to a degree have been to a level toxic, but the way he was, it just pushed me deeper and harder into running my own server and, yeah, just running it how I wanted it sort of to be ran and not having a hissy fit or a meltdown every 10 minutes when someone done something which you didn't like.
Yep, definitely. Um, the way someone controls the server it's very important, especially since you have to accommodate for so many people. So it's very
Exactly.
interesting that somebody else's actions and the way they control it uh, basically pushed you into saying, "Hey, you may be doing it right, but your attitude towards it is not the best. We're going to go make that environment a lot better and bring a server to life that way."
Definitely. It's like don't don't get me wrong. It's like sort of if they're paying for the server, they can run it how they want. It's their money, their server. But if there's something that I don't like, then I'm just not going to play the server. And if I think I can start one up and run it better, then well, I'm just going to jump in and do it.
Yeah, I think as well, Epic, like a point to make to that is, when you do make a server and, you start building up a community, and, people are coming back and staying, I think you kind of take on a certain sense of a responsibility. Like you're managing a community
Definitely.
as well. So I think it is very important to try keep things as fair as you kind of can for everyone you're playing with, and don't give yourself
100%.
super advantages where you're being toxic. Like, um, it's just the way it is. I think all servers as well, though. Like, there's a certain degree of toxicity to most servers. I think, nobody has the perfect server where everything is sunshine and daffodils. Like, I've gone through my fair share of groups come in and out of my Discord who were just there to purely cause chaos, and then they're gone. But
Hmm.
I think it's definitely part of the package. It's kind of something you just have to accept, and you learn how to deal with it. I think as time goes on.
Oh, for sure, mate, for sure.
And I also think that when you do take on a community, maybe not just a server, but once you start with the Discord and start building that community, you have a certain responsibility that you are taking care of people, and you need to have that, I suppose, a little bit of customer service, or even though it's your server and you're paying for it, but just a little bit of friendliness, customer service, just to help the other person who has absolutely no idea what's going on with your server. They don't know what's happening in the background. They don't know what the coding issues were, and sometimes just a little bit of communication can definitely bring the best, not only out in yourself but also for your community. Because, as you say, Maddog earlier, even with the problems with 1.20 and your server having dramas, your community was communicated to, so therefore the loyalty still stayed there when, after a week later, bang, they're back.
Not only that, like if you're super busy, like as I said, I spend a lot of time on editor throughout the week doing things like little touch ups for people, or people want to some build supplies or something spawn, and I spend a lot of time doing that for people. So, if you don't communicate issues, like we've got a ticket system set up on our Discord that myself or one of the admins can pick up and deal with. But if you don't announce things like that, then you're gonna get people not having a clue what's going on. So your ticket inbox is getting filled with like what's happening with the server, what's going on, and you kind of become like a parrot having to repeat the same thing to everybody. So I think a little bit of communication goes a long way.
Yeah, definitely, especially on your, as you say, right, you can get 1,000 tickets of the same thing, whereas one message can solve a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's it. Only happened earlier on with me. Like I got when I signed this Nitrado, I got a notification to say that there might be interruptions to the service on Monday. So it only takes 2 seconds to screenshot that, pop it up in announcements, and everybody can see. So when they log on Monday to play and they don't see the server there, they're not like, well, where's the server gone?
Yep, 100%. And it doesn't take much. It definitely doesn't take much. All right, so gentlemen, we're going to do got a little competition for you. As we do in Dayz, we like to practice our aiming and obviously flex how good we are. If you step over to this side of the building, you'll see down towards the oval there is 3 cars. At my feet, there are all the supplies required for you to firstly lay waste to those cars. So I've got 2 M79 grenade launchers and a whole heap of grenades. The white one in the middle is not the one you're aiming for. Maddog, you're looking at the one on the right, and Epic, you're looking at the one on the left. When I say go, it will be first to blow their car up. And if neither of us can blow your car up, at the end of the show, we'll go down and check who's done the most damage. You should have enough
Sound.
supplies there to go crazy. So, gentlemen, are you ready?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, fire. All right. So these boys now have to sit here, load, take out their cars. definitely get in to place your bets.
Motherfucker.
Especially
I
with
hope
the...
this isn't PG.
No, fire away.
Back here now.
Oh, that's on the money. Especially with the grenade launcher and being up here, you'd have to test the trajectory.
Oof.
Oh, very close. They've got about 10 shells each.
Boom, motherfucker.
Oh, they're right on target. Oh, that's right on the money. Little short there. Oh, he's in front. Every week we're going to have a little competition for our guests. Oh. Just a little bit of fun to break up the conversation.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I think Maddog's got this. His car just slumped.
No. Ah, fucking dickhead.
Oh, that's a few
Can I
on
start
target.
again?
Can we start again?
Mine's dead. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, yours is dead.
Yep, that's officially dead.
Boom.
Alright, well, how many bullets you got left before you launch that?
I got none, mate. I'm done.
Alright, there's one on the
I'm
floor.
done as well. That was my last one.
Alright, there's one more gun on the floor. If you see just a little further out there, there's a tent sitting in the middle of it. You got one shot. There's one that's loaded here.
Oh, fucking hell, mate.
Yep.
Go on, Maddog, after you.
Oh, over.
Way over.
Way over. Oh, way under.
Oof.
Ah, both terrible. Well, for our competition, it's officially the winner, Mr. Epic, with the grenade launcher taking out the car.
Boof.
Let's see it. Give it a little victory dance. Beautiful. All right.
How'd you like them apples?
It's definitely an interesting weapon, the old M79 grenade launcher. I do like they've incorporated it. I do think it was required for raiding. I think it needs to be maybe a little bit more damaging. As you've seen there, that was, nearly 8 shots each to take out a car.
Yeah.
I do believe when it comes to cars and stuff like that.
Even the M203 would be a nice little addition as well.
Yeah.
Under
yes,
barrel
please.
attachment.
Little underbarrel attachment to pop it out. Yeah, I do believe so, but I do think the shells themselves need to be weighed a little bit more. You know, a bit bigger in your slot size and a little bit more weight. That way you can't just run around with a whole shirt full of them.
Exactly. I mean, like, what's the point of having, like, say, 20 or 30 of them on your body? You know, that's not real life, is it?
No, that's right. And maybe
I think being able to do that though, on like the likes of even my server, because it's a high loot, it's no risk and no reward. You know, someone shoots you in the backpack and that's it, done. And anyone standing near you is done too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even with the smoke ones, they're like sniper rifles if you get hit by a smoke grenade.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we were getting ready to
150
raid
points
someone.
of damage at 30 feet, and then it goes up to 100 feet, still hitting 110 damage. So it's definitely a unique little weapon that I think will provide something in the future, especially if we get something like a barricading mod or a fortifications mod. All right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
with
so
fortifications,
go.
that'd be pretty cool. Like, even the ability to, the way we've got sheet metal and wooden walls at the moment, you know, being able to reinforce the wooden walls with the sheet metal even would be, that would make a hell of a difference.
Oh, 100%. Even if you could reinforce, the vehicles as well.
Have everyone driving around like Mad Max.
That's it.
Amazing.
But it would give that, that real, apocalypse feel, especially if you could do like improvised doors and things like that, where you've just got this half beat up door that's hanging off the side of your car. It would give that authentic look rather than, this pristine gunter coming cruising past with its not a mark on the windscreen.
Yeah, well, that's something I always appreciate as well. If I even see someone building a car, and and they're none of the car is color coordinated, like that makes so much more sense. So, they're using the rusted pieces. I think that looks way better than the actual parts for the car itself.
Yeah, it definitely gives it that age look, gives it the authenticity, and I think that's what a lot of us look for in Dayz, is that apocalypse authenticity, and make sure we have the feel. All right, so with Dayz, we know that a lot of us learnt either by playing the game or Reddit or YouTube. Should there be more in-game help and tutorials for players to get involved in the game, or even a a a server dedicated to just showing you how to play the game and all its aspects?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, no. I mean, I like it how it is. When I first started playing, obviously I'd seen all the YouTube videos and whatnot, so I had a bit of an understanding. But I think how it is when you just log on, you haven't got a clue what you're doing. You're fumbling about looking for shit around towns and stuff like that. Dying 50,000 times on the coast even before you make it up to bloody Starry. I prefer it like that, because it's just you're chucked in, you're dumped there, and just survive the best you can.
I mean, as well, like what we were just talking about there with, everyone looking for the authenticity of, an apocalyptic world. Like, I think not knowing anything when you start is the best way to be, because, in apocalypse, you're going to have all types of people, that are left. If something like that to happen, you could have nurses, doctors, bin men, people who've never been in a survival situation in their life or know anything about survival and having to figure it out. Like do you remember the magic of when you first played Dayz and finding a tin of beans or something and being like, I have food, how do I eat it?
That's it. Wondering why my gun won't automatically reload my bullets into my mag for me, and I have to painfully pull out every bullet, unwrap it, put it into the clip, load the gun.
It throws you
Do you know what?
curveballs at the start.
Do you know what I done for ages? Literally, before I realised you hold down Y, I was literally loading each bullet one at a time from my inventory.
Like combining them?
Sort of, yeah, one by one. And it's like, I love it that I didn't know that from the start, if you get me. Because, sort of every day is a learning curve on this game.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you, is that Dayz has this culture of learning on the fly, and I think that is part of the magic. I mean, I learn things every day, and you teach people every day. Uh, we're on a server looking for a drink, and someone we were with didn't know that you could pour water out of the barrel into your bottle and drink the rainwater that it catches.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of the mechanics get lost because they're overlooked, and I think sometimes after 4 years of playing that you discover these things. I think it keeps that, I guess, flavor of the game going. It's like, oh, look at this. Do you know that this does it? Do you know this does this? And you run that teaching cycle, and I think that's part of the Dayz culture is teaching new players and learning new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this was saying last week, I took a little jump on official, and I'd started using game mechanics that I had long forgotten about. You know what I mean? In survival aspects of things, like using, like I said, a fireplace up here, using the handrail kit even. You know, I'm so used to having food and stuff just on demand, more or less, that it was a really nice breath of fresh air having to actually survive again. It made me appreciate the game in another light that I haven't appreciated it in a while, I think.
Yeah, and it's very hard, especially when you're locked up behind the PC and you're coding and you're managing a server, that you sometimes may lose the aspect of why you fell in love with the game. And I think it's sometimes those little reminders of where you go, oh, this mechanic's been in the game for 3 years and I had no idea it could be done, or finding a better way to do things like loading your bullets by holding Y rather than individually. I think that's the sort of aspects that keep you striving for, what's the next thing I'm going to learn? What's the next thing that's going to take me by
Yeah, definitely.
surprise? It is, and I think also part of the help and the in-game creation on like a creator side, like Scale Speeder. I think those types of people are beneficial for the game rather than the game doing it itself, because they give you the player aspect like we're talking about it now and how we learnt this and how we learnt that. But if it was Dayz telling you how to play the game, it would be very generic. And I think a lot of the
Hmm.
survival and the adaptability with some of the items would be lost because we would just follow this generic way of playing the game. So,
Yeah, because it's sort of that way, then we're told how to play the game as well. If there is a manual to follow. Whereas if we just figure it out sort of ourselves, then we play it how we want to play it.
yeah, 100%. I suppose that's part of the freedom of what we love about Dayz and the ability to be able to play it however you want. You can chop and change. And you can be anyone you want to be. You can be a brand newie every time you jump on. No one else would know. It happens to a lot of people. They say, "Yeah, I'm new," and then they get murked after they get shot with a BK from 200 meters away by the same person. So I think that's part of the aspect of the game as well. But it's definitely interesting that we all learnt from each other rather than learnt from the game.
Definitely.
And I suppose
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Like I've,
yeah, go.
yeah, no, sorry. I've built up some pretty good relationships as well with a lot of other owners and stuff from just sharing, simple things with each other, and it really does. I think building a good network of other owners you can speak to and have a good relationship with is very important to being able to manage a server, especially when updates and stuff come out.
Yeah, 100%, and especially especially when there's people out there dedicated to certain parts of, a lot of people are hardcore coding enthusiasts, where some people just want to run the server, they're not very interested in the coding side of it. When those people come together because of the same issue, I think that's the biggest that's the biggest help overall, rather than the actual corporation stepping in and saying this is how you do it.
Yeah, I find it like as well when something happens or someone figures out saying they want to do something, and then a couple of weeks later, even like in the Facebook groups for Daisy and stuff, you'll see someone with with a problem, and it just becomes standard practice. To see information being shared from its origin to just that's everybody's go-to now to fix certain things or do certain things. It's cool to see how that information becomes the standard of how it's done.
Yeah, 100%, and especially when, especially back in the early days when a lot of items were starting to be incorporated. Um, how to get the leather gear in and how to get cigarettes in, and when cannabis became a thing, and it was great to see that that information was being shared out and not confined to one or two servers who, as much as that's a draw card for a server to pull players from, they didn't use that as their draw card. They shared the information to expand the rest of the community.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what encourages, I think, growth in this game, and there being as many amazing servers as there is about now with all these crazy mods and stuff. Or as I was saying, even little simple things like I was on the server the other day and I went into a house and there was a bucket beside a fireplace and the owner had put firewood in the buckets and stuff like that. Like even little subtle things like that. Like that's a massive quality of life improvement. For a freshie running around the place and they walk into a house and all the supplies are there to make a fire. It's nice little touches like that as well. That really make it, I think.
Yeah, I definitely 100% agree. It also changes the game for the fact of you now got a personal flavour on your server, and a lot of people are associated with it. And especially if you've got something very iconic. Um, all right, so when you're on any random server, whether it be official, whether it be a community server, I'm more talking on a full map rather than a death match. Um, do you have a place that you automatically go to hunt for PvP? Well,
Yeah, I suppose like if I jump on any server, military bases normally it's a good place to start, or some of the busier towns that have big police stations or hospitals. Normally get a bit of PvP around them.
yeah, 100%. What about you, Epic?
For me, yeah, for me, I mean, I sort of have like a set sort of loot run, which will involve, say, heading up to, say, depending on where I spawn, be hitting up the smaller towns, and then sort of loitering around, for instance, say Gorka or even Starry. Sort of those two are my two sort of favorite go-to towns. I generally find if I fancy a bit of a little bit of trouble.
And is it?
Yeah, I suppose the same
Yeah,
even
yeah.
with Livonia. If I wanted to get, if you want to even get PvP right off the bat as a fresh spawn, Brenna is a hot spot normally on most servers I've been on. You always run into
Definitely.
people in Brenna for Livonia.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting that you guys merge more away from the coast, and like you say, Epic, you're in the Gorka Starry region, so you've got people who are already coast proof and are heading
Yeah,
inland.
yeah.
And even with you, Maddog, you're talking military bases, so even if it's the smaller ones that are around that, inland coast or the bigger ones like Northwestern Airfield, do you get much action out at the those areas? And do you go there because of the amount of action, or do you go there because it's more of a thoroughfare or a hot spot to go for certain types of loot?
For me, I generally find so I have sort of a quite simple rules when playing this game. So if I'm on the coast and I see another freshie, very rarely will I attack them, even if I am a little bit more kitted to them. And I know there is this aspect of killing as many freshies as you can, but I like to give people a bit of a chance. And I find if I'm sort of middle map, then people are generally the same sort of level as me, geared wise. And so, sort of, they're generally quite popular sort of areas, sort of Starry and Gorka and places like that. So you can generally find people who are after a bit of trouble, might want your gear, you might want their gear. Whereas further north you go, especially like Northwest and Tizzy, then generally the people for me on full maps, what I've generally found is that these people are they're just looting up quickly. They're gonna hit up Northwest quickly, then they're gonna sort of bounce and then go back to the base and store a shit ton of fucking M4s.
Yep. It definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. The thing I like about going to, I find like the military bases, even the ones further up north, is just the you might run into somebody when you run into a barracks to look for a gun or something. You never know what's coming around the corner. When you hit places like that, like me and my buddy hit up NWAF not that long ago, and literally we were only there for about 2 minutes, and we were swarmed by like a squad of 6 or 7 lads, fully kitted. And it's just like the random encounters you have at those military bases are hilarious, or you're either heading back to the coast or you're getting away.
Yeah, and that's the best part of I find with inland fights, that it's usually that sort of scenario. You're off in your own world, you're busily looting, you pull into an open barracks and there's a person standing there, and then all of a sudden you've gone from calm nature to panic mode as you're trying to pull guns or get your aim up before they do. Or you get the other side of it, is where you are sitting and waiting and you see someone come in, and then you can line yourself up at the right spot, assassinate, take them out, pick up their gear and keep going. So I definitely agree with what you guys are saying when it comes to being on that inland fight. And it's very interesting that you, Epic, position yourself on the map due to what type of level of play you want to verse. Rather than being kitted and on the coast, you're more inland because you know those people coming through are, I guess, ready for that level, or at least just slightly below you, not innocent freshies running across. Well, no freshies innocent, but you're not versing a person with a glow stick and a bandage. You're versing people who have done a bit of
Exactly.
looting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and the same aspects goes for you, same Maddog, except yours is more in that higher end level where you're taking on the kitted guy. You're taking on the guy who's already been through Epic's little area, dealt with that middle run, and has come through and is now looking for those high end weapons to, I guess, roll an end game of destruction. It is.
Yeah, no, that's it's what I was saying there the other day. Like it's I was saying to you in the Discord. I think my favorite position to be in myself from Dayz is that in between. Like when you are mid tier as well, because I think like when it's an even balance of survival and PvP encounters. Because normally when you do get that end game stuff, like you're out for destruction at that point. You're either looking at raiding bases or you're looking for PvP because that's kind of where most people I think go once they're geared up. It's like, what's next? Well, let's take other people's stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's where community servers have the advantage over official. It's in community we can establish an end game further than an official can, because we can, set tasks, we can modify, stage style looting. We can say, hey, this is where the base supplies are. You can incorporate your base, whereas in a lot of people, or even having raid weekends, I think is a major thing that community does, because you can go base up and then defend your base during the weekend. Whereas on official, what's the point in building a base where I'm not there for 5 days out of the 7?
Yeah, I find with just like myself, even just as from an owner's perspective, because my servers raid weekends as well, I think it attracts a certain type of player as well. You know, you're getting a lot of type of people who are maybe working all week, can't really sit around defending their base all the time. Might get an hour at night time, they want to go loot some stuff up, and then the weekend they can relax and, go on a couple of base raids themselves as well. Like I love the whole concept of raid weekends. I used to be a lot more for the whole no rules side of things, but as I got a bit older and have responsibilities with kids and stuff now, it's nice to be able to not have to worry that I'm going to log in tomorrow and I will have nothing. I know for a guarantee my base is safe till the weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one of the things I've yet to explore. See, I took the different route, whereas in because of how busy I am, I left as a no rules. But I suppose that goes back to managing and caring for your community, where you're basically saying, listen, I'm putting out a community server that allows you to not have to worry about your base during the week, and on the weekend when you've got it off, here you go. It's open season for everyone, and we're going to set a time and date so whatever happens, happens, but we've given you probably the best chance possible to be able to carry on with your life during the week and still have your gaming rewards during the weekend.
Yeah, I also find it, it's funny to watch as well. I think during the week you've got, like there'll be these two squads or something, like even in the Discord, nice as pie to each other, then the weekend rolls around and they're sworn enemies for those couple of days, and then the next week it's just business as usual.
Yeah, just because raid weekends in, or there's also I've also found in a few servers the rivalry during the week and the banter that goes on during the week then hypes the raid weekend up even bigger. Where
Yeah, absolutely.
especially if it's two major factions pitting against each other, you'll get a lot of the smaller factions go into those bases and trying to leech off loot, or maybe get some easy kills or stuff like that. But I find that raid weekend sends a buzz around the server, especially when those big boys or those big factions or a major faction, even if it's one just going around kicking indoors, it changes the game completely over the weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think even on that last day of the week, like the build up to tomorrow, I mean you're to having it off with somebody in Discord, or you're to having an interaction in game, and by the weekend there's gonna be torches and pitchforks at the door waiting for you. Yeah, I think that does bring a lot of brings a lot of fun into it.
No, I definitely have to agree with you on that one. Well, that's our list of questions completely and utterly done. Is there anything you guys would like to add to our conversations before we close it all down? Or has anyone in the chat got anything to ask these lovely gentlemen? This is your time to do so. It's been an absolute...
Come on now, everyone, don't be scared.
That's it.
Ask a question.
It's only Epic. And it's only Maddog. They're good boys.
Exactly.
It's been an absolutely wicked chat, gentlemen, and we do appreciate you spending the time with us. Congratulations to Mr. Epic for being our first challenge winner, destroying his cars. That will. So, Maddog,
Face sucker.
you're gonna have to come back on the show and pitch yourself against another title. We're gonna be chopping and changing it every week. Just
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
just something so us owners can have a little bit of fun, I suppose. Everyone locked up. Well, that's more than welcome. I'm sure these boys don't want to be put on the spot when it comes to questions. If you want to get onto Maddog's TGB server, there is the Discord there. And of course, you can get in and speak to Mr. Epic if you want any coding help or done through my Discord. These guys are a massive part of my community. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your effort. We will slowly just merge over here because these boys go crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for our show. We'd like to thank you guys for coming out. I think they're going to duel it out like they usually do.
Shit. No.
The video will be uploaded on YouTube. That's Maddog from TGB, The Forgotten Realms. Absolutely wicked mods that are hanging out there. I know Epic's been helping with the Deathmatch Rebirth, so get out there and find the Deathmatch. He does some absolutely wicked coding. If you'd like to be a guest on the TPP, get across to our Discord as well. There's a casting couch. You can get on here, have your say, talk about what's going on. Apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, that's our 5th podcast done and dusted. We will catch you through the week for our streams, and of course next week for our podcast. All the details are on the Discord. Thank you for joining us, and of course get out there and support everybody. Big shout out to Blackman for the follow, for Fatty for the sub, Pans and Diamond for
Greedy, have yourself a little lunch.
Ooh, epic. But
Tastes epic.
apart from that, we will catch you guys next week. Now let's see who is around that we can go and raid. Because Epic's dead. GG for killing Epic, by the way. That bloke can be a pain in the butt sometimes. When I say sometimes, I mean all the time.
Always good banter though.
Yeah, 100%. And it was absolutely wicked stream. We're just going to head across now. There it is. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head across to Mr. Warden, raid him 2 days in a row.
So, hello.
You
Stay with us now. We're still here.
I thought Maddog died.
Yeah,
Don't know what happened there.
you got owned. That's what happened. I'm ashamed of you.
Yeah.
I'm shamed.
So am I. Yeah,
You
I'm
should
not
be.
even going to try and
No,
play this off.
I wouldn't either. Shamed. And
I'm highly embarrassed.
and I've been fed human meat,
If it makes you
so
feel better,
now
you're
I'm
part of me
shamed.
forever.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen,
Fuck
we
you,
are
bitch.
out of here. Join us now for Warden. Give him some love. Pump that chat. Love your work. We'll catch you tomorrow for our Sigoria stream. Catch you then. Yeah, that felt good.
Thanks for the pair.
Yep, and just one more. Oh, yeah. Been a while since I want to do that.
One of my